Maybe you should just shake it a little bit.
Welcome back to Building Together. In this video, we are going to be reviewing the castle gate, just the gate, right?
Yeah.
Of our big castle, which is called Lionsgate. I'm joined here by
Kiara.
and she and I are going to break down what I think is a pretty awesome castle, right?
Yep.
All right. So to give a quick overview, I've been working on this for the last 3 months, and I've modeled it after a castle in England called Bodiam. And it's not an exact replica. I wasn't using that as, a way to completely structure this, but I wanted to take some architectural details from that. So as you look at this little picture here of Bodiam, you maybe see some similarities. Now, as another part of the overview, you may recall, and if you go back in the channel, you can see a couple of practice videos. And these videos just kind of show me building some castle wall elements and trying to figure out what I like about them, what I learned about them, because let's be honest, it had been a while since I'd really worked hard on a castle MOC. One of the things I learned when building those castle gates was that I needed to leave enough room for the portcullis, the drawbridge. But one of the other things I learned was that I can't think about building a castle MOC that's big like this as if I were building a Lego set. There's a huge difference between how Lego sets are made when it comes to castles, and then if you're trying to make a big, impressive MOC. And that's what the goal for this was. So I really had to work on things and make sure that I wasn't making it look like a Lego set rather than a large MOC. So that was the approach that I took. Now, Kiara, what are some of the things that you like about the front of this castle?
Well, I like the circles and the panels and stuff on
The battlements.
Yeah.
Yeah, so up here we've got these castles. I'm going to do a video tutorial on how to make these, but basically these take 1x2 panels and they flip them upside down and slide them in. And then I use some clips, modified plates with the clips, as well as some 1x1 bricks modified with the handle to get them into place. And is that creative?
Well, yeah, but I don't understand how it works, even though you've tried to explain.
You'll have to watch the tutorial video that we're going to come up with pretty soon. Maybe even include some instructions. Check that out when it comes out in the next couple of weeks. And what else do you like about Lionsgate?
I like the window. I like the tan one.
So this middle section here with the tan,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a fun part to build. One of the things I wanted to make sure I did there was that I had not only the bottom sill in tan, but the top framed in tan. Also getting that snot technique, that was fun. And I worked on a couple different things using bricks. As you can see here, I've used bricks and modified bricks primarily to get that effect. But I also tried plates, right? And you like the bricks a lot better.
Yeah, I like this. The only problem with it is that I don't like how you put all those plates in there. I feel like you could have just added a brick in there. I think it would look better if you just put a brick in there.
Maybe look better, but here's the thing. Because if you check this out, I had to put tiles in the middle to get them to join up, and there wasn't enough room for a brick.
Oh,
So I had to, yeah. I mean, there are probably other things that I could have done to modify it other places, but then it would have looked awkward there. So that's one of the things I learned in building this, is that there's always going to be a trade-off. No matter what you decide in your building techniques, no matter what you decide in terms of your architectural details, trade-offs are real. So you might want to build this out of bricks, but I had to use some plates in the middle. If I'd used plates, it would have looked smoother in that part, but it may not have looked as good overall. So that's something to remember whenever you're building a project. What are some of your other thoughts as it relates to the exterior of Lionsgate?
Then I don't like that you put swords on the front.
So Kiara's a little critical of the swords.
I prefer spears.
What color of spears would you want? Because we got like black, we got brown, reddish brown, silver gray, like.
I think silver would be cool.
Okay, so keep it the similar color as the short swords,
Mm-hmm.
some gray tone. I like the swords because I think swords are emblematic of fighting. The The spears are kind of a long-range weapon. That can be Taster's choice. Maybe we'll switch them out at some point. I do want to say, like, we will make a couple of tweaks to this. This is not going to be the finished version. Of course, we're going to be adding in some detailing out in the front here when it comes to vegetation and things when we add it to our layout. So it's not completely done as it's going to look whenever we have our layout, but in terms of the structure and where it at, I would say it's 99.9% complete. So one of the things that I wanted to adapt from the practice mocks was making sure I didn't have big gray wall syndrome, right? So I wanted to use a lot of gray, and oh my goodness, right? A lot of gray bricks were used. No gray bricks were harmed in the creation of this castle. But yeah, in terms of making it look a little bit more interesting, we used a lot of different types of bricks, right?
Yeah.
So we used a lot of profile bricks, these log kind of brick pieces, some dark gray thrown in there to break up that just straight plain gray wall. I thought the effect turned out pretty nice as well. I'll also note that I'm going to angle this just a little bit here so you can see, hopefully, this side wall. It's very thin. Now, historically, castles would have a much thicker external wall, and it would be filled with a lot of other rock. It wouldn't be, cut stone or anything like that, but it would be filled with mortar and other types of rock pieces to add stability to it. I made a budgetary decision to keep the external wall here 1 brick thick, and we're going to be putting stables here and on the other side as well, but that was more of a budgetary concern and not something that I wanted to make simply because of the historical accuracy part. So I understand that it's not perfectly accurate there. That's why I included some archways. We do have that 4 wide walkway on the inside here that will allow people to move back and forth.
It's very hazardous because I wouldn't want to fall from there into a pile of horse poop.
So that's something that I might add is a little barrier along the backside of this walkway so that nobody falls off, similar to the barriers that I put up here. It's just basically 2 plates high. So that's something I can do to add to it. I also wanted to comment a little bit about the brickwork that I did on the exterior here. I wanted to make sure that on this upper level here that this tan part was framed in by some snot tile work, which I think turned out really good, and I think adds a little nuance to the architectural details of that. So I like how that turned out, like the tiles that I have going down the sides on the front.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I will say that you'll notice that, just as I look through here, that we've got this nice alternating pattern between the dark gray and the light gray going down here, but the one place I didn't do that was right here, and part of that is the drawback, or at least the trade-off of trying to build in real time and show you the video for the speed build, because I had left this light gray. If I had to do it again, I would have made it too wide with the dark gray there. So that's one of the things that if I could go back and change, I would, but that would be a lot to take everything off of here and make those dark gray. So
maybe you should just shake it a little bit.
And take a look at some of the interior. Now, Kiara has, I know, quite a bit of thoughts as it relates to the interior of this. So what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that the columns aren't done, and that another thing is that the doors don't match.
So not everything matches. That is correct. Again, part of that was a bit of a budgetary decision. Also, I was torn as to whether or not I wanted interior doorways to have actual doors in all the places. I don't know. It's something I'm kind of working on. We'll see. Maybe I'll go back and fix some of that or change some of it out a little bit later on. I did make all of these floors removable like this, so they fit in pretty easily. And I'm doing that more for playability because, well, I've got kids who want to be able to play with this castle. So I figured we'll allow them to access it. Now, I am going to be closing off the back side here once we do the interiors. When those will be removable, so that way you can come in and play with it. But yet show that closed aspect of the castle. It also allows us to kind of make all of the interiors, which is our next step in this. All of the interiors are going to be almost like modular. So you can take out the floor piece, you can add in your interior components, and then add it back in. And it'd be interchangeable with any other floor if you wanted it to be, which I think is kind of a neat way of doing it.
It's also like, why would you change out the floors? Just saying, because you meant like once the interior's done.
Yeah, once the interior's
Because
done.
right now they're all identical.
They're all the same. Yeah. But once we get the interiors, play around with it. Again, a lot of castles that I've seen, a lot of the big MOCs don't have full accessibility for playability features, but with two kids who like to play with Lego and like to use their imaginations, I wanted to make sure that everything was accessible, which, as you pointed out, isn't really the case here, right? There's one part that we can't access very well, right?
The stairs.
The stairs. The stairs are here in the front. I'm going to turn this back around yet one more time.
Oh boy.
I know. So the stairs are in the front of these towers here, and you can certainly see them from the inside, but you cannot access all of them, which actually I dropped a 1x1 gray tile down the stairs, and it's somewhere in the middle, like right in here, and I can't get it out.
Maybe you should just shake it a little bit.
I could try to shake it, but I didn't want to destroy the castle before we actually recorded, the review. So there is a piece kind of stuck in there, but that happens. Turning it back around. I wanted to have some sort of common theme running up the center of this castle here, almost like a huge vaulted ceiling. Now, I've done some research on interior designs for castles, and a lot of the stuff deals with kind of the living functionality versus the defensibility. That's why on the exterior, all the windows are very small. That's for defensibility purposes. If you have big windows, people break the windows and they climb in.
Yeah.
Small windows allow the archers to lean out and shoot out the windows if they need to, because they're wide enough for arrows, but not wide enough for people. But having the vaulted ceiling here, I wanted to have something that was going to add a little bit of color. As you saw in the front, we have the shields. Red, white, and gold is the key color scheme for the 2010s Lion Knights, and that's the theme, the faction that we're going with. I wanted to have the red and white columns going all the way up to the top to add some color to this part, because it is the first MOC and I wanted to have some color in it, but also this is a defensive component to the castle. It's not a livability part to it yet. And so the interior that we're going to be putting over here isn't going to be so much livable space as it is defensive minded. So what do you think of the bridge on the inside?
I like it. It's just that, I could think of a way to make it, kind of have some color to it.
You would want color on the bridge?
Well, yeah. But it's not that difficult. You
Yeah.
can just bring it downstairs and exchange a few pieces.
We could do that. That's one of the things. I like the bridge that is here. You'll see that we've got a stairway going over where the portcullis and the drawbridge are. But to get that vaulted ceiling look, I still wanted them to be able to go from one side to the other. The bridge was the solution to that, but maybe we could make some tweaks to that. Put some color in. What color should we make it?
Well, I only want to change, the tiles you put under, the rail.
Yeah.
I just want to make those, red or something.
Red and white?
Mm-hmm.
Keeping with the color motif, huh? That makes sense. All right, so that's the interior. We've talked a lot about the exterior. Now, what's going to be happening next? Well, what are we going to be adding?
A lot of armor.
Armor, where's that going to go?
Well, in the armory.
So we're going to have, an armory on the bottom levels over here, just so that people can grab weapons if they need to defend the portcullis, the drawbridge. That gives them some accessibility. Now, the main armory is probably going to be in the back of the castle, and there's a reason for that strategically. Is castles in the medieval time, if you have a defense mechanism up front, but if you lose that, you don't want all of your weapons in the front. So you want them in the back toward the keep, the last line of defense. So these are smaller armories. They're going to have some weapons there just for people to engage in battle, but it's not going to be the big armory or the massive store of weapons. Probably put like some sort of table here, maybe a quick meeting room of sorts, so that people can get together and communicate as to what's going on if there's some sort of battle waging out at the front gate. And then I haven't really decided what's going to go up here yet. We'll work on that. So that's the next step on these sides right here. We're going to be putting some stables because it makes sense. You have horses come in the front gate here, the main gate, and you got to put the horses somewhere. On either side of Lionsgate Part 1, we're going to be putting towers that are going to be about as tall as these right here. So that's going to be, I think, another cool thing to build. We're working on some tower designs. I have one idea. Kiara's going to be working on some stuff. And the big challenge for that, I'm going to tell you right now, is how do we get stairs, A, that are accessible, and B, that are going to tie in well with the designs that I've come up with for the tower. It's going to be kind of a rounded, angular design, and so that's going to be a little tricky. So that's what's coming next for Lionsgate Castle. I hope that you've enjoyed this in-depth review of the castle. I'm going to be posting more videos on some of the building techniques and some of the things that we did for it. And we're going to be posting interior reviews and maybe even speed building review of the tower. So that's going to be coming down the pike in the next steps for Lionsgate. I hope that you enjoyed this. We really appreciate your support. Please, please, please subscribe. I don't want to beg, but this is one of those things that we want to see that you are engaged and that you enjoy this. So subscribing, ringing the bell for notifications so that you don't miss updates to the castle. That's huge. And as we always say here at the end of our videos, always remember to keep building together.